AdamMcKola TV. We are back. Manchester United season has started in defeat 2-1 against Brighton at Old Trafford. I wasn't there today. I was on the kickoff and it was a disastrous time, to be totally honest, to be sat there with Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, even a Newcastle fan just absolutely rubbing it in to Manchester United. But that's where we are right now on a day that should have been starting with optimism and, just hope for Eric Ten Hag's reign has ended in defeat and us asking the same old questions. When will we see the end of that triumvirate of McTominay, Fred and Maguire? Because they are quite simply not good enough. Now, they weren't the only ones today that didn't perform. They weren't the only ones today that, by far, that didn't perform. But they have been a consistent issue at Manchester United. I did a video yesterday saying that we've got the same issues. We have the same problems at the club. We're not ready for the new season. As much as I want to be optimistic, as much as I still thought, we should beat Brighton in this game, I've been saying we're not ready for this season. When you're still playing with McTominay in midfield, when you're still playing with Maguire at centre-back, you're clearly not ready for this season. And that's it. It's that simple. We weren't ready. And you look at it today, and it was the same issues. Yes, we didn't have a striker because Anthony Martial was out injured. I didn't have an issue with the boss not picking Cristiano Ronaldo from the start. I kind of feel like if you pick Cristiano Ronaldo from the start, having not trained, having not, been a part of pre-season, having left the ground early last week, it's going to become an issue. What message does that send to the rest of the team? I just felt that wasn't the right idea to be picking him. As much as we needed a striker up there, it didn't work with the false nine of Eriksen or Bruno Fernandes, whoever was pushing up furthest up the field. It clearly didn't work. And when Brighton had the ball, they retained possession really well. They were pulling our players out of shape, out of position. And when you look at their two goals, the first goal, I think it was the first goal, it was one of the goals, comes from McTominay losing the ball. McTominay loses the ball because he's clearly not good enough with the ball at his feet and he doesn't release the ball soon enough. He loses the ball. Brighton have a counter-attack. They're getting men forward. Maguire is lost and out of position and out of shape. Because he's out of shape and Delo gets beaten far too easy, Martinez then has to jog across the back to try and cover the mistake and the gap that Maguire's left. As he trundles across to cover that space and cover the gap, then Luke Shaw has to pull across. Luke Shaw pulls across, and then we've got a man on the back post in no man's land with a tap in. It was awful, awful defending. And it starts from the midfield, losing the ball, giving up possession. Fred's out of position. Your captain's out of position. Delo gets beaten too easy. Martinez comes across the cover. Shaw comes across the cover. Now we got a free man on the back post and Brighton have gone 1-0 up. It was abysmal, abysmal stuff from Manchester United. Then we had another error. I think it was Eriksen, who maybe could have made a tactical foul. I don't think Eriksen was particularly bad today, but maybe you could have made a tactical foul at that point to stop it. We don't stop it. The ball gets down on our right. The shot comes in. Maybe Shaw can do better. Maybe Maguire can do better. The midfield could definitely do better because when you watch the goal back, they're nowhere to be seen. They're nowhere to be seen. They're just jogging on the edge of the box. These are your midfielders and that are supposed to be protecting your back line, and they're jogging on the edge of your box. It was an absolute shocker from the defence, an absolute shocker. And then the ball is shot across the box. David De Gea saves it. He can't push it out far enough. Brighton have another tap-in. And these are the same issues we had last season. I've been saying it. Maguire shouldn't be Manchester United starting quality. And McTominay isn't Manchester United quality. Now, I have said a few times, I don't think we should drag Fred into that McTominay and Fred kind of thing. People say McFred, and I think Fred's clearly better than McTominay. But today, Fred was useless too, constantly giving the ball away. And it was just shambolic. Real Eyes says in the comments, shambolic. And that's the only word I can use to describe it, because it wasn't good enough. And this is the start of the season. Now, I'd love to know how much this whole Cristiano Ronaldo thing has had an effect on things, because that can't be a great mood in the dressing room. Do you know what I mean? When you got Cristiano Ronaldo who doesn't really want to be there, back in the dressing room. Maybe there's been a few things in training over. Like, I don't think that leaves a great, but it's not his fault for the result today. But I just feel like that can't be a good environment to be in. And Ten Hag has got it all to do. And if this board don't back him, it's going to be another manager that fails at this club, because he can't perform miracles. He can't perform miracles. And today, look, I thought he should have started Malacia. Malacia has done well in pre-season so far. Maybe you should have started Malacia. I think Malacia comes in next game. I thought Martinez was our man of the match. You know, he had so much to do at the back there with Maguire just abandoning his duties, and he did it really, really well. There were so many times today where Maguire just let Danny Welbeck run across him. What are you doing? The diagonal ball from Brighton, the run across from Welbeck, it was so easy for them, and we allowed it to happen continuous. Eventually, Maguire has to just block him off on one of them, make sure he feels the tackle, feels a little bit of pain, so we don't want to do it anymore. And it was just shocking, man. Shocking. De Gea wasn't great either with some of his distribution. You know, Delo, defensively at times poor. Obviously, he had a part in Manchester United's goal on the way back. Maguire, I've already said enough about him. He's not good enough. The sooner we can see Varane and Martinez in there, the better. Left back, I'd go with Malacia. I wouldn't look at Luke Shaw for the next game at all. In that midfield, we've got huge problems. We've got McTominay, we've got Fred. Bruno wasn't good enough today, constantly giving the ball away. And it's got to be better from Bruno Fernandes. You're one of our experienced players. You're one of our players that can get us goals, get us assists. And he just seemed to crumble today. Eriksen had a difficult time. Like, it's his first game in the Premier League with Man United at Old Trafford. And you got all these clowns around you. Shocking. Shocking stuff. And I just think we got to get so much better at the simple things, man. But most of all, we have to get this spine of the team sorted. And going into the season with McTominay and Fred isn't good enough. You have to change that. You have to. We couldn't even get our front three into the game. We couldn't get. First half, I can't really remember Sancho and Rashford having a chance. Now, Rashford should have scored in the second half. He had two opportunities. One, which I think was a great save by Sanchez, but you could argue Rashford has to score it. And then there was another one where it was coming over onto the back post on the volley, and he volleyed it over. But I thought, that's a difficult chance to take. Do you know what I mean? Maybe you take it down and you take the shot. But the first one, he should have scored. He should have scored. Sancho had a poor game, quiet, but we didn't get him into the game enough. You know, Ronaldo, when he came on, you know, tried to make things happen, but ultimately not good enough. But today, it wasn't a problem with our front three. The issues were further back, and we had no spine. We had no leader. The captain's not good enough, and the midfield definitely isn't good enough. And Barcelona could chuck another 100 mil on Frankie de Jong's price tag at the minute, and it'd look worth it. Whatever it takes to get that Frankie de Jong deal done for the manager, get it done. Because we need a new midfield. This is not a good enough midfield for Manchester United. It's that simple. And I just felt today, maybe with the whole issue with Cristiano Ronaldo, the whole captaincy thing with Maguire and not being good enough, the whole midfield being invisible, it's the same problems we've had for a long, long time. The same problems, and we have to address them and we have to resolve them. I think what today shows to the board is the manager needs to be backed. The manager needs to be backed. It's as simple as that. And I think it also shows you that it's not an easy fix. The manager needs some time. And I think for once, Manchester United have got the right manager. I think Ten Hag's the coach. I think he's a bright prospect. You know, he's someone that's modern thinking with his football. The coaching's right, the pressing's right, everything's right about the football. But we need to give him the players to be able to get success. And at the moment, we haven't got them. And in fact, I'd much rather like to see James Garner, Zidane Iqbal, Hannibal Mabry playing over these clowns that we're currently playing in midfield, because they're not good enough. And how can you expect to get the likes of Eriksen, you know, Rashford, Sancho, Ronaldo, Marshall, whoever, into the game when you've got a midfield that can't pass wind? One of our key midfielders gets put into defence for Scotland. What does that tell you? You don't put your best midfielders in defence. And Rory there, absolutely winding us up. Gonna kill Rory. Anyway, it's an awful start to the season for Manchester United. I think our next game at home is Liverpool, and I'm going to be at that one. Can't wait to be back at Old Trafford, but we need to back this manager and we need to get him the players in, because at the moment, it ain't good enough. And there are issues at the club that I could have told you about last season. McTominay isn't good enough. Maguire isn't good enough. Get a new midfield, get a new captain, and maybe we can start this rebuild, but until we do that, we're just going to be treading water. And at the moment, we're not even doing that. Guys, get hitting that like button for me, get commenting, get sharing, get subscribing to the channel as well. That has been dreadful. This is the first review of the season and it hasn't gone to plan. Fingers crossed we'll be back soon with more and United will be winning. Someone just said, where is Bailly? Yeah, where is Bailly? Surely he's better than that useless clump we call captain. For God's sake. Anyway, I've been AdamMcKola. I'm going to get out of here now and look for Rory to chin him. I'm out of here.